Good morning, everybody. Hey friends, Jason here. I was listening to a podcast this morning, and I heard it was kind of a humorous talk, and I heard this quote that I thought was really interesting. This speaker said that when she finds somebody that's smarter than her or whatever, she doesn't think that they're smarter than her. She thinks they maybe have just read a book that she hasn't read yet. And I thought that was interesting because a lot of times we have this perspective that other people are so far above us, these celebrities or these spiritual gurus or these really knowledgeable people. They're so far beyond where we are. And the reality is, maybe they've just read a book you haven't read. Maybe it's that simple. Maybe they've just enjoyed or partaken in a piece of knowledge that you haven't partaken in. And what is it in books? What is it that coaches share? What is it that mentors have? What is it that people have that mentally, what bit of knowledge do they have that you don't have? What is it? If you could boil it down into one little thing, what would you call that thing that these people that you look up to or these people with really great insights have? What is that thing? What do you call that little golden nugget of wisdom? I call those things principles. And so the reality is they're principles. And so when you look and you read a really great book that has this really great concept, usually that whole book is based around like one core principle. So if you get attuned to looking for principles and learning and seeking and finding the principles in things, then you can collapse time in your learning, and books, movies, stories, everything becomes more potent and powerful when you can extract the principles from these, because that's what's really the essence of it. That's what really matters. That's contained within that thing that makes it powerful. So I'll give you a great example. So we've lots of different cultures have books of scripture and canon, and there's a lot of stuff in these books of scripture that really aren't useful or super meaningful, like history, sometimes just facts and data, people killing people, giving birth to people. Those kind of things aren't super useful. What's useful, what people look for, are the principles. Same thing with quotes that have lasted or phrases that have lasted throughout time. You know, phrases like "the truth will set you free," or phrases like "a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush," or these kind of things. What is it in these? It's the principle. They relay a principle. And so my challenge to everybody and to my friends and all of you out there, hey, everybody hanging out, we've got a few here watching, is look for the principles. Sunday's a great day to reflect on principles and reconnect with what matters to you. And so look for the principles. If you go watch a movie and you enjoy that movie, what's the principle or the principles that are coming across? If you read a book, what are the principles that they're illustrating in that book? And there may be several. These are these nuggets of wisdom. And if you can take those out, that principle can lead to thousands of pieces of data and facts. Because when you really take in a principle, you can apply it like a lever to a variety of situations when you learn that principle. And but it takes lots and lots of data and facts and ideas to illustrate a single principle. But once you get the principle, you then can apply that to a variety of situations in your life, a variety of other people's situations. You can apply it to your body, to your spirituality, to your relationships, because it's a principle, and a principle is truth at its core, and it works in a variety of situations. And so that's what in my universe is real scripture. That's what real truth is. And it could be said by a bum on the street. It could be said by somebody that you might consider a prophet or whatever. But if it's truth, it's truth. And that's the power of a principle. And so going back to what I said at the beginning, it may not be that people are more intelligent than you, or that they're smarter or more talented or more whatever than you. It may just be that they've read a book that you haven't read. It could be that simple. It may just be that they've talked to somebody that you haven't talked to and gotten an idea that you haven't gotten that you could get? My belief is if somebody else can do it, I can do it. A great example from like the Bible, for those of you that are into the Bible, is Peter walked on water. Not too many people talk about that fact, but Peter walked on water. So Jesus can walk on water, right? That's the legend. That's what's in the book. And Peter then walked on water. And if Jesus can do it, Peter thought, well, maybe I can do it. I'm hanging out with this guy. He could do it. And if Peter can walk on water, then maybe you can walk on water. That's the idea, right? So John says, give an example of how to apply the newly learned principle to daily life. Well, it depends on the principle. But for example, let's take that phrase I said, bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So a lot of times people are striving to get something and striving to get maybe leads in business, or they're coming up with this great plan to get in shape and get healthy or all this stuff. But having an actual result, even if it's half as good as this great story that or future or possibility that you've made up, is far better. It's far better than the story or what might be possible. So a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So what does that mean? Actually, like if you're out hunting and you capture a bird, it's worth way more than saying, I know this bush that's got tons of birds in it. Or whatever, because it's a real result. What's another great phrase that people say? The truth will set you free. Well, that's because it's our stories and our lies that hold us captive and hold us prisoner. And that could be applied to a lot of different situations. And so one principle that I like to share with people, or that I see reinforced, is that focus equals power. This is a really common thing in marketing. So I come from a marketing background, and so in marketing, one phrase that I heard Grant Cardone say is the riches are in the niches, right? And so when you focus on something more narrow, you're more effective at that focus. So for example, if you take an egg and apply pressure from all sides, my understanding is it's really difficult to crack the egg. But if you hit it against something at one point and a focus, it cracks very easily, right? So this is the same thing in marketing. If you really want to apply a principle, and be more effective in marketing, a great principle in marketing is focus equals power. The effectiveness, it's far more effective. So if you take a shotgun and you shoot the shotgun from really far away, they're tiny little BBs. And if you shoot it from really far away, a bunch of little BBs will hit something, but it probably won't be super effective. But if you take a sniper rifle and you focus right on with one thing, it can be deadly, right? And so focus equals power. So I've seen this in my own business. So I had Open Potion, my web design brand, which we did websites for any small business. And that's kind of niche, right? Small businesses. But then I took that and applied the principle of focus equals power and narrowed it down even more. And I targeted our strongest niche, which was property management companies. And I created a new brand. And since the day I created the new brand, DoorGrow, to target property management companies, I've gotten far more business through that niche brand than through my brand that could service all types of businesses. And so focus equals power is another example of principle. And so I could go on and on, but that's what I'm all about. I love finding principles. And so next time you read a book, next time you watch a TV show or a movie, what's the principle? Because everything that could teach you something has a principle within it. And every situation has a lesson. Every movie has a lesson. There's always a principle available. I like to define principles as these golden nuggets of wisdom that illustrate what actually works. It's the truth, right? Yes, a basic, Cynthia says, it's a rule, belief, or idea that guides you. A good ethical, it can guide you. But then I believe there's also principles that are the core of what's actually true. in reality. There's universal principles. I believe there are universal principles, not just what works for you, but there's principles as to what works. So another principle that I love that I got from J.J. Dewey um, is the principle of beauty. So a lot of people think beauty is very subjective and whatever, but the essence of beauty, he says, is intelligent design. And so the more intelligently designed something is, the more beautiful it is. And so if you go out and look in nature, nature can be very beautiful. But there's also situations in which humans have improved upon nature. Instead of it just being wild and chaotic, there's situations where, like, my lawn looks far more beautiful after the gardener has mowed it. And I love the lawn, I love that piece of nature, but it does look far more beautiful being organized. Gardens, for example, and things like that. So we can beauty. The core of beauty is intelligent design. There's even really cool websites where they'll show the symmetry of faces and they'll show geometric ratios on faces, and if they align with certain geometric ratios like the golden ratio and stuff like that, and if they have more symmetry, they're more attractive regardless. So there's some core underlying principles that affect beauty. So um, yeah, so there you go. So this is my challenge to you guys is look for the principles and don't put people so far above you um, that you think that they have some access to some sort of source of wisdom and knowledge and guidance that you can't have. It's completely untrue. That anybody that you can look at and respect and value and see as a mentor has no greater access to knowledge or insights or whatever than you do. You have the same capability that you're able to see in other people. And the question is, which people do you see as having insight and having knowledge that you enjoy? Because the people that you resonate with, that you enjoy and like, shows you your potential, shows you what you can be like. So anyway, that's my tidbit for today. I hope you guys have a great Sunday morning, and I'm out.